Greetings and salutations. My name is Kenitra Mozelle of Kenitra Mozelle Speaks. I help leaders, visionaries, and entrepreneurs unclutter their minds so they execute with excellence. Thank you, Deborah of Harobeds Thoughts, for what you are doing with your platform, how you truly encourage us to use our words. And it's an honor to be on this space with you as you are bringing awareness to, oh my gosh, so many different communities and voices that need to be heard. So thank you for this opportunity. As we're talking about BIPOC, Black, Indigenous persons of color, and mental health awareness, I wanted to visit this conversation from the perspective of the experience in the workplace. Okay, so I'm a registered professional nurse. I worked at the bedside for 7 years. I worked in the data informatics and outcomes, the nerd things for 8 years, totaling 15 years at the VA. And what I can absolutely say is that I remember the moments where I was not choosing myself. I recall the moments where I still showed up for work with the absolute least bit of capacity and gave more than I had to give. And that is something that is quite common inside of the culture and the experience of being a BIPOC person. We are taught to give, we are taught to go above and beyond. And this, unfortunately, is something that is natural for us inside of our culture. We can definitely agree that we are taught to overperform. Why? Because there's safety in our performance. If I'm not an outlier, if I'm not standing out to you because of a specific reason, then I'm more likely to be safe and protected. We are often overlooked for the support that we need because people expect us to deliver. When you are raised in a household with dedicated parents who understand that a part of you being safe is being the best, you are the highest achieving person inside of your organization. You have the best ratings. Your excellence is just top tier. You're the best in the company, right? And it does not mean that there is permission for you to be expected to perform at specific levels while being absent of self-care. Okay. And I'm just, talking through some of the things that I want us to think about as it relates to this. Culturally safe support, when we think about things that have happened that stay inside of our country, or if there are culturally sensitive times and dates on the calendar, different times of the year, if there's an injustice that has happened against people who look like us, what type of care are we receiving in order to process what's happening around us to people who are an extension of us so that we can still show up and be well as a human before we're an employee? That's so good. Okay. Oh my gosh. What about code switching? Let's talk about the emotional exhaustion of code switching. Let me tell y'all something. I got free. But there are some of us that are in environments that it is literally tense, and it can be very uncomfortable for you or those who are working in the environment with you. If you do not show up and present and speak in a specific way, you become a threat. And so in order for you to remain safe, you have to show up like somebody else. And we call that code switch. That is very much standard operating procedure in some, workplace environments, right? And then the last thing that I'll say is that we have this habit of ignoring our own needs. As a nurse who worked at the bedside, you go to the bathroom later. We call it nurse bladder. If you are a nurse and you watch this, say something in the comments. Nurse bladders. We can hold our bladders all day long. Why? Because there is always something else to happen. There's always somebody ringing the bell. There's a doctor on the phone who needs to get feedback. Somebody needs their lab drawn. Somebody's got to get up out of the bed. Then you have to document everything you do, because if you don't document it, it's not done. Who am I talking to? Yeah. Right. So there are things that are hidden in the workplace. There are patterns that we have subjected ourselves to that come from our upbringing, how we create a safe environment, and then expectations from those who reap the benefits for how we have been reared because of culture and expectation, and historically what it took for us to be safe. Those are things that impact your mental health. Why? Because you make it a standard for how you live and how you operate, and you, how do I say this? You have created to be a safety metric for you when it does not have to be. It does not have to be. And I know that may not fit for every single person, but I want to bring awareness. I want to bring awareness to our experience, what's impacting our mental health as it relates to our work environments, the professional settings that we show up in on a regular basis. All right. So we've listed a couple of things that are included in the experience. And if anything I said resonated with you, drop something in the comments and let me know, let Deborah know, just talk back to us, because we are a highly engaged community, okay? But when we think about the mental health impacts, right? Let's talk about the mental health impact. So, oh my gosh, anxiety. Have you ever had an experience where you were getting ready to present something on a Friday and on Monday you already in stitches? Why? Because you are building in anticipation, while there is a type of anxiety or there's a type of urgency that is appropriate, and for prolonged periods of time, it is unhealthy. Okay. So you begin to experience anxiety. Yes. Let's talk about burnout. Oh, burnout. Nurses, nursing retention, burnout. Ask me how I know. Lived it. Absolutely have lived it, and almost did not recognize it. I will tell you that the Lord sent an angel down the hall on a specific day where I'm telling you that 5%, that little bit I said at the very beginning of this video, where I was giving what I did not have to give. I never forget that day. There was a divine intervention that happened for me because I had reached a point of burnout. And when you are burnt out, you cannot function, right? You reach a point of exhaustion and burnout that it can almost flatline you, if I can say flatline. Like, you do not function at any level that allows productivity to happen. When you are already a high achieving person, because it is the standard, it is your nurture, it is your culture to go above and beyond, being burnt out and still being able to function. How do I say this? I don't want to confuse you with what I'm saying, but when you function at 500%, your 100% looks above and beyond somebody whose baseline is 25. You can still be at burnout and be performing higher than others, but the quality of life, the caliber of a person that you are, how you are sharing spaces with other people, and how you are in your mind, you are burned out. Resting ain't restful. I'm not going to talk in proper English for a minute. When you lay down and you still wake up tired, when you wake up to a fully engaged and active mind that is going absolutely nowhere all at the same time, baby, you are burnt out. You could be leaning into depression. Let's talk about decision fatigue. Oh my goodness, making all the decisions all of the time, answering all of the questions. Honey, your mental health can be negatively impacted if your mental does not get a rest from the responsibility of being that person, being that go-to person. Oh my gosh, resentment. What happens when you are going through a hard time, when you are burnt out, when you are anxious and nobody sees you? Now, we won't talk about the part about how we have a difficult time asking for help. Come on, She-Rose. All of my sisters out here, we're talking about Black, Indigenous, and persons of color. Oh, Black women are absolutely heroes. Read my eyes. I won't say it. Read my eyes. Okay, guys? I will tell you this. Not only is it difficult for women of color to receive help and assistance, it is also equally as difficult for us to manage emotions around what we don't receive from people. I'm upset because I'm doing everything. I'm getting angry. I'm getting bitter because I'm not receiving help. But I also don't know how to form my words in a way to request it. I don't know how to make room for it. I have not made space to receive the help. So now I'm angry. Now I'm bitter. Now you are that angry Black woman because the scenario and the details of your experience over time have created a situation where you legitimately are angry. Yeah, but I'm not angry because, I'm opening my mouth and I'm speaking or being assertive. I'm not angry But over time, those things will stack up. And the statistic that somebody might want a person of color to be is the presentation that will arrive because I am exhausted with being misunderstood and miscared for. Okay. Mental health impacts, feeling disconnected from purpose. Oh my gosh, y'all, this is a big one. And then I move to the next point because I don't want to get stuck here, but I'm very passionate about us operating according to our purpose. There is great intention for why you are here. Even the hardest things in your life have produced a version of you that operates in purpose and presents itself, its wins, its lessons to other people in a way that they are empowered. So when you don't feel like you're operating in purpose anymore, when what you're doing is no longer fulfilling, that takes a toll on your mental health because you don't even know why you're here anymore. That is when you begin to lead into suicide ideations. That is when you begin to get hopeless. And it's because you have been in environments for prolonged periods of time that have expected you to show up and to perform, have not recognized that there is a care necessary for you to continue showing up and performing. Whether it is personally, whether it is family, whether it is professional, there is essence that we give when we show up in spaces. And if there is no refilling, there's no pouring back into, it will impact your mental health, and you will begin to consider and explore other options that don't require you to be the go-to person. It doesn't require you to be on. It does not require you. When we begin to consider how spaces can no longer require us, we are leaning into a crisis. There is a time for an intervention. The time would be now. Okay, with your high performing, brilliant, most loved, support everybody in the world self, you are the one that needs the break. You are the one that needs the intervention. Something needs to be done because you too are a priority. Okay, that is my Coach K. I love you. I care about you. Let's center you. Okay. So statistics around mental health and persons of color is challenging because there's a smaller subset of us that are even contributing to the data. So the numbers are smaller, and then oftentimes the numbers are actually even smaller than what's reported because our data pool is small and we don't engage around specific conversations because mental health treatment and therapy, things of that sort, have been villainized as persons of color. When we think about Black, Indigenous, and persons of color in our experience, we are very, very heavy in the faith, in being believers and people of faith. And so we place a lot of weight on what we believe. And if you are a Bible reader, you know certain scriptures. If you sit under the leadership of a pastor, you know, there are narratives that can be presented to us that negate the care necessary for our mind, right? I'm going to go here for a second, so just follow me. If you understand that we are three parts, that we are spirit, we are soul, and we are body, the part of you that is soul also is where your emotions and your mind and your will functions, okay? So if I am not well in my mind, there is a subset of me that has short-circuited. In order for me to be fully well and functioning according to my purpose, I need to be well spirit, soul, and body. So when we talk about our mental health and what's going on with our minds and the challenges in our mind, it is a priority. You don't just put a scripture on top of issues with your mind. Remember, it's also connected to your soul. There's a quote that I love that says, I would that you would prosper and be in good health, even as your soul prospers. Well, that is connected to that mind. Come on, the neuroscience. If you are a follower of Dr. Carolyn Leaf, I love her work and how she talks about us managing our thoughts, retraining our thoughts. She talks about the neuroscience of things. She talks about neuroplasticity and how you can essentially change your mind. Oh my gosh, this is so good, guys. Okay, so I want us to understand how important that it is, that we prioritize care of ourselves. Why? Because when you don't, it shows up in work, It shows up at home. It shows up in your relationships that you are not managing these things correctly. I'm also the founder of a community called Grace for This, and we help women take ownership of their wellness personally, relationally, and professionally. So I'm very much passionate about what our experience is as a human, because how you are as a human rolls over into every area of your life. So advocating for yourself inside of professional settings is very, very important. Just to give you a little bit of statistics, according to the National Association of Mental Illness, right? Black adults in the U.S. are more likely than white adults to report persistent emotional distress, and only about 1 in 3 Black adults with mental illness receive treatment. So, not like I said earlier, not only are we not discussing it, there's an even smaller part of that subset that is receiving treatment for it, right? Why? Because we have decided that the baseline for our experience is to experience emotional distress, but I'll be okay. I'll keep going. I'm trying to stay calm. I'm trying to be calm. Somebody help me in the comments. Say, breathe, Nitra, breathe. Y'all can call me that, okay? You have my permission. Right? U.S. surveys show that 21% of Black and African Americans have mental health concerns, but only 39% of them are receiving mental health services and treatment. It's not okay when there is a subset of you in its entirety as a whole being that needs this kind of support. There's a part of you that has been abandoned. Can we take that part of you that needs care off of the missing list? Yeah. Take them out of the basement. Quit hiding them. Open up the tub that's tucked over in the corner. I'm talking about myself. Bring that tub out. Present that tub so that part of you can begin receiving care. All right. And there's one more thing I want to say. The BIPOC communities often experience a double burden of managing mental health concerns while navigating racism and systemic iniquities. Oh my gosh. On top of me being who I am, looking like I look, I have to manage how you mismanage me while still managing me so that I can still serve in the places that I know I'm supposed to serve because my livelihood depends on it. Who's tired? Who's tired? Who's exhausted? This is a reality. This is the space that we're living in right now. And thank you again, Deborah, for creating a space for this conversation to be had. From the perspective of your work environment, I want to see that our employees, our executives, our HR departments are prioritizing us before we have a crisis. What systems have been put in place inside of the organizations that employ humans? Here we go. That employ humans to ensure that they are receiving appropriate care based on the fact that not that they are an employee, but they were a human before they learned the skill set that your company could benefit and make a profit from. I'm saying it with an attitude. We're gonna have to do better about that. All right, so I'm going to wrap here. I'm going to wrap here because there is an empowerment inside of this conversation. What can you do about your mental health as a person of color in the country, state, wherever you are? What can you do? You have to exercise your voice. I'm in a store and I'm singing. You have to exercise your voice. It does not matter that the manager of the North Pole, let me know if you follow me, if y'all know the reference, say it in the comments. It doesn't matter that the manager said they don't do that here. I said we do it here. And me doing this here is not offending you. It keeps me healthy and it adds to the space. Exercise using your voice. When something is not clear, ask for clarity. Why? Oh my gosh, y'all, this is so important. Asking for clarity helps you narrow down where you need to exert maximum effort. We oftentimes allow ambiguity to run us in the ground because we do not require clarity before we begin working. Your supervisor say, hey, can you give me so-and-so by this particular time? I would love to do that. Please send me an email with the exact details and expectations around what it is you would like, because I'm excited to show up and deliver and exceed your expectations. What is it that we're looking for me to do here? Why? Because I'm going to deliver. However, we're not going to exhaust me in trying to figure out what to deliver, over delivering, and then it still not be enough. No. We're not doing that anymore. Ask for clarity. Why? Because I will give you what it is that you are asking for. I'm not going above and beyond. Protect your time. I'm trying to behave, y'all. I'm trying to behave. Protect your time, but even more so your recovery time. We have stop villainizing rest. Stop villainizing rest. If you're a human, raise your hand. Nobody's here named Lassie. Nobody's here named Flipper. Free Willy. We are humans. Every single one of those animals rested. So why is it that you, with your brilliant, amazing, productive, and addition to every room self, would not prioritize rest and recovery time for yourself? Now, when we're talking about in the workplace, yes, communication is good. Yes, you schedule your annual time. Yes, it needs to be approved. All of those things are great. Take your annual leave. When you schedule yourself to be off, take the actual day off. While you are off, don't think about work. I'm talking to myself. I'm working on this, right? But in addition to that, emergencies come up. Oh, well, we ain't gonna be able to give you a specific thing. Hold on now, wait. Because I don't need your permission to rest. Now, my executives, my leaders, if you are the person who sits at the seat, you provide resources, you invest in insurance and salary. Biggest expense in your organization is payroll. If you want to protect your ROI on your staff, you should also protect their time away from the organization, because they come back better, they come back equipped, their creativity is intact, and you're going to get a return on your investment. Let's reframe how we think about managing our human resources by treating them like they're human and protecting what their human needs are. Okay, so normalize receiving support. If somebody offers something to you, receive it. It might take practice. And then lastly, don't call depletion dedication. That is erroneous. Change your language around that. Check your belief systems around certain things and begin to what do they say? Guys. Oh my gosh. I can't think of the word. Deconstruct. There's some things that do need to be deconstructed. Let's start with your belief system around why you're not good enough to be rested. Okay. So having said that, I want to let you all know that when you are as brilliant as you are, it is really difficult to turn things off. You always have the ideas going because you're already highly productive. People know they can depend on you. You deliver. You oftentimes have a lot of things in your space. You have a lot of things in your space. When I say in your space, I don't just mean in the room. I'm talking about in your mind, right? I have a resource that I want to offer to you all. It is called the Reset. It is called a Reset. And what I love about this framework is that it starts off with uncluttering. There's so many things that we have made a priority that we can't even identify where we need to be focused. So I want to offer you all the free Reset workbook. It is a quick and easy digital download. You can go to my website, KenitraMozelle.com. It's going to pop right up there and you're going to see it. And it's going to walk you through some very specific journal prompts that can really get you started in doing a reset so you can begin prioritizing what your needs are. The 3 things that we're going to help you do with this specific resource is 1, to unclutter your mind, get clarity around what you should be focused on, and then you can begin executing with excellence. If you are a person of faith, you will especially love this because there is additional prayers and there are anchor scriptures for you to move throughout that, right? I know that we are a special group of people as believers, but what the Lord laid on my heart with this specific project was that he needed to get the best out of us. And in order to do that, we had to unclutter all of the things that we had been making a priority, get clarity on what he really wants us to focus on, and begin executing with excellence. Because let's remember this, we don't do anything any old kind of way. We go above and beyond. Let's narrow it down. Let's prioritize yourself first and see what steps you need to be taking in order for you to take care of yourself. So I hope that you enjoyed this talk. You can follow me at Kenitra Mozelle Speaks Facebook, Instagram, as well as LinkedIn. I'm excited to be a resource. I am an author, speaker, and a coach. And so if this talk was something that resonated with you, or you would like to bring this to your organization or small group, I would love for you to reach out to me. You can find out more about how to work with me. Just go to KenitraMozelle.com, and all the things are there. Again, thank you, Deborah, for all that you do, for how you are a supporter of things that I work on and that I build with. And I'm so grateful for how your platform is growing and you are advocating for people whose voices truly do matter. Y'all be amazing, and we will see you next time. Blessings.